Hey everyone, this is the November 2nd Helm 2023 Helm Dev meeting, and uh, I'm your host, Scott Rigby. We have a great cast of characters today, all getting ready for KubeCon. We have just a few discussion items. I'll go ahead and Ian, do you want to go ahead and get started with the first one?
Yeah, so actually somebody pinged me about this morning, so I thought I'd bring it up on this call. There was a bug where if you add labels using the CLI and you roll back, the labels don't get put back when you roll it back. So that I believe that is in fact a bug. So they wrote a PR, but they also included a new feature in the PR. So it fixes it, but then it also adds a feature where you can put labels in when you do a rollback. So I guess I just, before asking them to break it out into separate PRs, which was my initial thought, is let's fix the bug and then have another discussion for if we should allow labels on rollback.
Interesting.
I can see arguments for and against it allowing labels to be added on rollback. So but the bug seems a pretty clear fix, I think, at least. I think if you roll back the labels should be exactly as they were. So
I would agree on the bug and the labels needing to be there. What I would say is the flag is feature edition, so we can't do it. And I would argue against doing it as a feature edition because a rollback is literally supposed to be go to exactly what was there before. Don't make any changes to it. If you want to make changes, then you need to roll forward. But if you change on a rollback, you may not go back into the exact same situation and break something else. And there's all kinds of things. Like, let's say you add a label in there on rollback, but you've got a policy engine who is going to complain or do something because of policies around that label, right? Next thing you know, the rollback doesn't work because you added a label somewhere and it causes some kind of problem. You're not going to get a clean rollback when you think about in the ecosystem. Whereas if you don't touch it and it went to the same labels as before, then you get that clean rollback.
yeah, I agree with that sentiment. If you want that functionality, roll back and then roll forward, right? Just do another deployment with the labels you do want, so that you can achieve those rather than.
And that's not the only problem. I mean, it failed tests, and so we can't merge it right away anyway because it's failing tests. But I can add that to it because I did have it open. I was looking at what was in this release, and I do have that open. So I can add, since it's my feedback, I can add it to it.
So I have a general question about that. Apart from this PR, just the whole concept of adding labels on a rollback. I understand what you're saying is you want to roll back to the state you were in, but I can also understand the point of somebody who says, I want a way to know that this rolled forward and then rolled back, that it was touched, as opposed to its companion thing that hasn't been touched yet. So I wonder if there's room there to say, like add a flag or some kind of way to actually indicate this was rolled back. It is not actually in its untouched original state.
That was the PR author's exact argument, was he wanted that functionality.
Right. And I'm just wondering if there's a way to still achieve that without the side effects of like this unknown ecosystem interaction.
Isn't that already stored in the release, the Helm versions?
So you do have the versions, right? It will tell you that the version increased. You don't go back. So you know you've got the release number with the Helm release, and you say roll back to this release. When you roll back to this release, it doesn't move it back to that release. It actually takes what's in that release and rolls forward. So you will see the counter increment.
Okay, so you can still tell that you rolled back.
You can still tell. Yes. So if I'm on release 3 and I roll back to 2, the new release will be 4.
Okay.
Well, that's cool. You can tell with a Helm diff, right? It doesn't, I don't believe it registers a specific flag in that release version information, but I think that's probably fine because there wouldn't be any functional difference, right? Between rolling back to like version 2 or 1 if they were exactly the same, right?
Yeah, whether you roll back to 2 or 1, it's gonna tell you it's 4 because ultimately it's a new release using the old release's information.
Right, Matt, I understand that. Sorry, I just meant if someone wanted to keep track of like what version they were rolled back to, that would be a new feature at this point, right? Because it also wouldn't really make a difference because it's really the values that matter, right?
And I don't remember offhand exactly what's stored outside of that. There could be something else. I'd have to go look, and I'll do it before I comment.
I'd also make one small comment here. This seems like someone's proposing a solution rather than explaining a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And you do have, and you can look at the rollout history to see it. You know, number 2 is superseded, number 3 is error, number 4 is deployed. So you know you went back to number 2.
I think on the one hand, the issue of he rolled back and it didn't keep the labels. I think that's pretty clearly not desired behavior. And then, but then there's this whole other topic. Yeah.
Yeah. This makes me wonder, by the way, if we ought to ask the person who's submitting this to maybe update the documentation, you know, because we are our docs, right? Because I was just thinking, all of what was just described, the intention of Helm rollback, and that it should be exactly the way it was before, that it creates a new revision. I don't, at least on quick scan, I don't see that in these docs. So it might be good to just ask that person, hey, would you like to contribute to this? And in the meantime, perhaps that will help them with this problem.
I would also generally agree, like we quite often find these problems, explain them on an issue, and then don't update the docs, and then probably have to explain it again in the future. So it would be, in my opinion, good to get a more of a let's improve the documentation thing going.
I agree with that, George. And actually, do you have bandwidth to make a comment to that effect on that?
Sure. Will do.
Okay, great. Sounds like, is there anything else for that one, Ian, or are we?
I don't think so. I think that's it. I think so. I'll ask them to split up the PR into 2, and I think at least that gives us one through, and then they can make the arguments for the other one if they think that's relevant. I guess the next one's mine too. How does everyone feel about skipping this call on November 30th and making it an hour-long retro? And we'll announce that at KubeCon as like, hey, we're going to do a Helm retro. Like, tell us what you like, what you don't like, what's going well, and just like kind of getting like doing a little bit of posting about it on social and be like, hey, everyone come, and we'll announce it at the presentation at the Helm Maintainers track too. Does that sound good to everyone?
I like it.
Sure.
All right, cool. That'll be the date then.
That sounds good. Yeah, that sounds good. I was going to say we'd be kind of skipping a week, so it wouldn't be right on the heels of KubeCon. Is that part of why you suggested the next one?
Yes. Yeah. It basically before December. Like I know in December, like everyone gets really spotty, so it's not really great time to book things. And so, but I'd also like to do it right away so that it's like right on the heels of KubeCon. So that's why I picked that date.
Yeah.
So the week after KubeCon, I was going to say the week after KubeCon can be rough. The week after that is US Thanksgiving, right? And then you get into December, things are rough. And so this is the Thursday after US Thanksgiving, before you get into the December season. That is probably a good time to do something like this.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because January can be kind of rough too for places like Australia, and not too bad in the US mid-January, but then that's a whole lot longer out too. So
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. I was
Yeah,
actually
this
looking the other way, if we shouldn't try to do it on the 16th, or, yeah, try to do it on the
I would do
16th.
it sooner. Yeah.
But I don't have any skin in that game. I think that's cool. I know we're doing something like NYC Kubernetes meetup. We're going to be doing a KubeCon recap that week. So I guess my question is, do you or anyone here have any thoughts of whether it should be this one or the next, or excuse me, the 16th or the 23rd in terms of what's best?
But I think the 30th would be best, just because the other dates you get near, well, the 23rd is Thanksgiving, so
Oh right, I
don't
meant
want.
the 30th. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
People were
the
asking.
30th. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool. Then awesome. That sounds great. Then Matt, you're next.
Yeah, so there is one more regression. The reason I had talked about releasing 3.13.2 early, but there's still a regression in Helm, and I was hoping we could talk about that today. Let me drop it into chat here. My chat. So there's this one here, which is a regression. Joe, I know you had looked at it and given feedback, but I was wondering if we could look at it again and see whether we can get it in, and I can cut the release on Monday if things are good. I mean, I'd like to get both regressions fixed, because this is another one. Let's take a look at this one here. And Joe, I don't know if you have time to look at it again, or
I'll look at it today.
yeah, if you could look at it today. I'm going to look at it today as well, because if not today, if it's not in good shape today, if there's a problem with it and they can't fix it, then maybe I'll jump and add a layer on top of it and fix it and see if I can get one of you to approve it then. And then we can go forward with trying to get this out on Monday. But that's what I'm thinking of.
Sounds good.
But this is, since it's a regression, I'd like to get this fixed and out the door as well.
I didn't get a chance to look at all the comments, but is there a link to, did we discover why it regressed?
Yeah, he actually called it out in there.
Okay.
So in one of the other changes, which was to add label support for the install and upgrade commands, that change is what broke the label selector.
Okay.
So when we added support for custom labels, it broke querying those labels.
Okay. So it's okay. So there was a relatively complex change which caused this regression, and so probably the best way forward is just to fix that bug rather than.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, we added a feature, and it turns out that there's a bug with the feature. It's a regression. So, and somebody contributed a fix, so hopefully it works.
I will try and find some cycles to just verify and test, and
That would be great.
yeah.
And I think as soon as this lands, we can probably cut the patch release, and I'll try and queue everything up otherwise, so it's easy to cut Monday morning when I'm sitting in a hotel room in Chicago. Okay, that was it.
Thanks, Matt. That sounds awesome. Maybe we'll all be there together when you cut the release. Okay, Karen.
Yep, I just wanted to kind of go over the Helm stuff at KubeCon real quick. So we will have a Helm booth in the Project Pavilion area. If there's anyone who doesn't know, there is a Project Pavilion area that is within the sponsor hall. I believe I don't have a map of the whole sponsor hall right now, but I think through the main doors that we'll go through, if you go straight in, I think through any of the doors, the sponsor, or sorry, the Project Pavilion is kind of like on the left side. Yeah. Just, look for the sign that literally says Project Pavilion. That's usually above, so just kind of walk towards that direction. But anyway, as a reminder to sign up for booth duty shifts if you're available to help. We saw that Karina and George have signed up. So a few slots available. I will send out calendar invites, I think tomorrow afternoon, for those of you who will have signed up. And then also just wanted to share a map of what the location is, at least within the Project Pavilion itself. So if you look at the meeting notes, I put in a little map of the Project Pavilion area. I think that little box that says A should be where the sticker wall is. So if you find that, that should help situate you, but that's kind of just like this giant wall that has a bunch of little cubbies that have different stickers for all the different CNCF projects. So we'll be near that. The letters and numbers that you see on this map are probably not going to be labeled anywhere. Just this is like just kind of for like logistics. So don't look for the numbers, just look for the sticker wall to help orient yourself, I would say. But yeah, just a reminder, please sign up, would love your help, and then I'll have some Helm stickers at the booth. Yeah, that's it. And if anyone has any questions about the booth, you can ping me. I'm on the CNCF Slack. Yeah. Thanks.
Awesome, thanks. Ian, do you mind if I do my my topic next, because we're on the KubeCon topic?
Yep.
All right, cool. Thanks. We have time. So I'll be short. Do we? I was looking at who's on it right now. Who's going to be doing it? Matt, Karina, George, and Ian. There was a conversation last week about looking forward to Helm 4 and a Helm 3 support plan. I'm still drafting that up, and I'll have that ready soon. The support plan draft, so that we can all look at it and see if we want to change it and all that. Would you like? It turns out I'm going to KubeCon. I wasn't going to be. Would you like more people to present, or is it kind of like we don't want a giant gang up there helping to do that, or how are we feeling about that?
I would suggest we already have 4 people up there for a 35-minute slot, and we're trying to give a presentation. Squeezing more people in is kind of hard at this point.
Yeah,
I'm being honest, for a 35-minute talk.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'll help with slides and that sort of thing, or whatever else I can do. Okay. That was my only topic. Ian, you're next.
Yeah, so I was browsing the docs on mobile again and remembered this issue about how it doesn't really work, and I very well, right? Like, has anyone else tried to browse Helm docs on mobile before? They get like really strange scroll behavior, and I spent a couple of minutes trying to figure out like if this was like a really easy fix, and at least it's not an immediately obvious fix for me, who is not necessarily super front-endy. Probably most of us are more back-endy. That's why we're in Helm. But do we?
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
go ahead, Karina.
That has been an issue for a very long time. And every time it comes up, I ask the person who's asking about it, hey, would you like to provide a fix? So I'm going to ask you the same thing.
Well, I'm actually referencing this issue where someone else is also complaining about it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not. So we don't have access to any like CNCF front end resources for this kind of thing, or is it's all 100% on us, I guess?
Is that a question or a
It's-
statement?
It's a question. I guess I don't
Okay.
know. Do we have like people that can like help us with like front end stuff like this? Is it standardized at all across like the graduated projects? I don't know.
So normally it's handled by the project. There are cases where other people may have stepped in and we can query about those resources to get things updated. Last time I looked at who did it, quite often they redid the whole darn site in order to make things into a framework for this stuff. But then again, that's been a couple of years. I do not know the CNCF's current state, but it is one of those things we can fire off and ask and go dig into.
Yeah, well, maybe that's worth thinking about then, if we should update to whatever the latest guidance is for a doc site. I don't know. I don't know how old this framework is or isn't, or
This framework is from when Helm 3 launched or before. So it's not
Yeah.
fresh and new. We'll say that.
You know, Matt, I was just looking at the services for CNCF projects, because every so often when you look at that, pretty much every time I look at it, it's a little bit different. There's more services being added. And it looks like this is on there under design and aesthetics anyway. We might not need that, but at least maybe the doc side of things.
cool.
I wonder if I guess what I'm saying is I wonder if just
we can look into it. Yeah, I don't know if they do a fix, but we can ask whether.
Yeah.
I doubt they'll come into a random foreign framework and fix it. They'll probably want to redo it.
Right.
And it may be time for a refresh.
Maybe so. I mean, at least we have you know, from back then the design specs and everything that was put together for Helm. So whatever is made would at least fit, you know.
Yeah,
So,
that's a good point, because this is all like responsive design stuff and things like that, and maybe we're no longer compliant with probably all that stuff we should be compliant with on the doc site. So
would someone like to submit the support ticket through the CNCF help desk? I can do it. I just don't know if there's anything specific I need to share that might be more technical outside of my scope.
I could do that if yeah, you do that.
Do you have access?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thanks, Scott.
Just make a note for myself to do it. Okay. So Joe.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Joe Jay, I guess is I'm we got a couple of Joes here today.
Oh, sure, we are. Yes, this one. Yeah, White Access Hero pinged me. He'd like to become a maintainer. I told him I'd put his nomination on the mailing list, which I haven't done yet, but I will.
Okay.
We should just keep an eye out for that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Great. Well, I think we're at time. Everything was perfect, and we'll
Assignments.
Oh, thanks, Matt. Jeez, I felt that I had one job. Yeah. So who wants to moderate next week?
well, next week is
2 weeks.
Or
Yes,
sorry,
please.
yeah, I even made the note in the docs, not for next week. Who would like to moderate the week after next? On the 16th.
Don't know if I'll be here, so I'm not volunteering.
I'm planning on being here, so you can put my name down.
And then notes.
Cool. Well, Karina said she can do notes in the chat.
Okay, great.
Sorry, I'm asking.
Yeah, I'll put myself down under peer review again too. What about issue triage and other PR review folks?
I can do triage, and I'll try and do some PR review as well. It's going to be busy again next week, but
Okay, great. Yeah, Joe and I meant to have a, well, we intended to have some pairing too, but then some things came up for both of us. So, but I'm happy to do that. George, do that time.
yeah, sure. Let me reach out on Slack. Let's review this. And next week we'll be at KubeCon as well, so might even be able to sit down in person and review.
Great. And then what other core maintainers can be present with me and Matt? If we're not sure, that's okay, but I thought I would ask. And if someone does know, maybe just if you can, please put that on in the notes. And so I think that we're done now. Thanks so much. We'll see some of you in Chicago.
Thanks, y'all. Bye.
Fun.
Bye.